Okay, we're back again at the Greatest Sports Channel, and we're going through the absolute best pitching single seasons based on a relative basis, absolute ERA relative to the era they played in. Dutch Leonard had the best single season in the history of baseball in our book, The Greatest. Again, my name is Mark Magna. That book is available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. His actual ERA was .96 in 1914. The league ERA was .291. So that absolute ratio was .33. He was 19-5 in that year, and that was the best single season in the history of baseball. Second was Greg Maddux in 1994. He had an ERA of 156. The league ERA was 451 at that time, very high. That was a ratio of .35. He was 16-6 that year. Third best, Tim Keefe in 1880. He's in the Hall of Fame. He had an ERA of .86 at a time of 237 league average. He was only 6-6 that year. Pedro Martinez in 2000, 1.74 ERA at a time when the league average was 477. This is unbelievable. In the year 2000, he was 18-6. Fifth best, again, is Greg Maddux. 1995 had a 163 ERA with a 445 league average. He was 19-2 that year, and won a Gold Glove 18 times. Walter Johnson, who is the best pitcher of all time in the book, had the sixth best single season, 115 ERA at a time of league average 306. He was 36-7. Bob Gibson next in 1968 had a 112 ERA. League average was 298. By the way, in the 60s, that decade, hitters only hit 248 league average. It was the lowest in history. He was 22-9 that year. I think he had 9 shutouts. Mordecai Brown is 7th best all time. He's in the Hall of Fame. He had a 104 ERA, 266 league average, was 26-6. 9th best, Dwight Gooden, not in the Hall of Fame. In 1985, he had a 153 ERA, 389 league average, was 24-4. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Number 10 was Jack Taylor. I don't think this guy's in the Hall of Fame. In 1902, had a 130 ERA. League average was 317. He was 23-11. Kevin Brown is 12th. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11th. In 1996, he had a 189 ERA at a time when the league ERA was a very high 461. He was 17-11, and it's absolutely insane he's not in the Hall of Fame. Another Walter Johnson year. Then we have a Grover Alexander at 13. In 1915, ERA of 122 at a time when the league average was low of 290, 31-10 win-loss. Denny Driscoll, I don't think this guy's in the Hall of Fame. 1882 at a 121 ERA. Again, league ERA 280. He was 13-9. Then we have another Pedro Martinez year. He had an ERA of 190. Carl Hubble in 1933 had an ERA of 166. At a time, league ERA was 381. He was 23-12. Roger Clemens in 05 had a 187 ERA. Was 13-8 that year. Old Hoss Radbourn, 1884, had a 138 ERA. He was 59-12. That's the, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. About the 17th best single season of all time. 18 is Christy Mathewson had a 1.14 ERA. He was 25-6. 19, Christy Mathewson, again, 1.28 ERA. At a time when the league ERA was 2.82, was 31-9. Ed Walsh is 20th, 1.27 ERA. He was 18-20 that year. That's very interesting. In 1910. Another Walter Johnson. Here's in 22nd, Phil Regan had a 1.62 ERA at a time with a league ERA at 3.52 in 1966. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He was 14-1. Very few people would know about that season. Dean Chance in 1964 won the Cy Young. 1.65 ERA. He was 20-9. Here's this Jack Feister again. This guy only played 8 years, but in 1907 had a 1.15 ERA. Was 14-9. Here's a Cy Young finally in 1901. 1.62 ERA. Was 33-10. 1910 Jack Combs had a 1.30 ERA. Was 31-9. Carl Lundgren in 1907 had a 1.17 ERA, was 18-7. And then about 30th here, or 25th or 30th, Nolan Ryan's 81 year, 1.69 ERA. He was 11-5. Continue on to some Guidry, who's not in the Hall of Fame. 1978, this is unbelievable, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He had a 1.74 ERA. League average was 3.69. He was 25-3. Clayton Kershaw next, 1.83 ERA. League average 3.87. This last year, 2013, he was 16-9. Just signed for $225 million. Koufax in 64 at a 1.74 ERA, 19-5. Here's Addie Joss, who only played 9 years in the Hall of Fame. In 1908, had a 1.16 ERA, 24-11. Another Koufax in 66, 1.73 ERA, 27-9. This is about the 35th best. Spud Chandler, I never heard of this guy. In 1943, he had a 1.64 ERA. League average was 3.33, and he was 20-4. Lefty Grove in 31, 2.06 ERA. At a time when it was a high 4.12, he was 31-4. Ed Ruhlbach, I'm not sure who that is, 1905, 1.42 ERA, was 18-14. Hal Newhouser in the Hall of Fame, 25-9. In 1945, he was 1.81 ERA. Here's a Tom Seaver in 71, 1.76 ERA. Smokey Joe Wood, again, he's not in the Hall of Fame, 1915, hit a 1.49 ERA at a time when the league ERA was 2.90, and he was 15-5. This guy's not in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Chicote, 1.58 ERA at a time with 3.06 average. 1913, he was 18-11. Oral Hershiser, he's not in the Hall of Fame. I did not review him in the book. I'm sure this guy should be in the Hall of Fame, but I didn't review him in the book. He had a 2.03 ERA at a time, 3.89 average. He was 19-3. It's absolutely crazy he's not in the Hall of Fame. Makes no sense at all. Vida Blue next, not in the Hall of Fame. 1.82 ERA, was 24-8. Joel Horland, not in the Hall of Fame. He had a 1.88 ERA in 1964, was 13-9. Other guys not in the Hall of Fame. Louis Tiant, so this is about 40 or 50th best of all time. In 1968, had a 1.60 ERA, was 21-9. Wilbur Wood, not in the Hall of Fame, 1.91 ERA in 1971, was 22-13. Other guys, here's another Smokey Joe Wood. He had a 1.91 ERA in 1912 and was 34-5, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. Here's a Guy Hecker in 1884 had a 180 ERA, 52 and 20 he was. I'm not sure if he's in the Hall of Fame. Another Louis Tiant from 72. Other ones of interest: Gaylord Perry, 192 ERA in 72. David Cone, not in the Hall of Fame, 222 ERA. He was 20 and 3, not in the Hall of Fame. There's another Addie Joss year, another Oral Hershiser year. Sam McDowell, not in the Hall of Fame, had a 181 ERA in 65. Another Smokey Joe Wood year, had a 169 ERA in 1910, was only 12 and 13, but I assume they didn't score for me. Only 169 ERA. Babe Ruth, interesting, about the 50th best single season, had a 175 ERA in 1916. Was 23 and 12, and we do have him as like the 41st best pitcher of all time. Another Addie Joss, Denny McLain in 68. I think he won the Cy Young, 196 ERA. They won the World Series, 31 and 6. Another Addie Joss. He was only 14 and 13 that year, but he had a 171 ERA. Again, he made the Hall of Fame 9 years. Roy Face in 1959, 270 ERA. League ERA was 390. He was 18 and 1. What a year! And that's about it on there. And that's everybody.